How Stoics break free from quiet narcissists. Calm power versus emotional control. There's a kind of control in this world that doesn't look like control at all. It doesn't shout. It doesn't slam doors. It doesn't call you names. Instead, it smiles. It sighs softly. It looks tired, wounded, gentle. And in a strange, quiet way, you start feeling guilty, without ever knowing what you did wrong. You apologize for things you never broke. You tiptoe around emotions that aren't yours. You shrink so they can feel safe. You carry the weight of someone who claims they are too fragile to carry themselves. And slowly, you forget the shape of your own voice. Most people think danger comes wrapped in rage. But sometimes, it comes dressed in sensitivity, empathy, and soft eyes that never seem to understand you, only to need you. It's not loud narcissism. It's the covert kind, the quiet taker. They don't demand you kneel. They make you offer the ground beneath you. And if you've ever wondered, why do I feel guilty for simply existing the way I am? You may have stood face to face with one. Welcome to Ancient Stoic Secrets, where we don't learn how to fight louder. We learn how to see clearer. Because sometimes the most powerful defense is not force, but awareness and stillness. Today, we're going to explore one of the softest traps in human relationships, and the Stoic mindset that frees you from it. Not by becoming cold, not by shutting down your heart, but by remembering something Marcus Aurelius quietly repeated to himself. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Meaning, if you listen long enough to someone who always plays the victim, you may start believing you are the villain. So let's ask a question. Have you ever loved someone who never yelled, never threatened, never insulted you, and yet somehow you constantly felt like you owed them something? Like you always needed to explain yourself, to make sure they weren't upset, to keep their peace by sacrificing yours? That's not love. That's emotional debt collecting interest. And Stoicism gives us the clarity to see it, the calm to stand firm, and the courage to walk away without guilt. Because the truth is simple. You don't have to light yourself on fire to keep someone else warm, no matter how softly they ask. Take a breath. Stay with me. Let's learn how to reclaim your peace, quietly. Part 1. The Noble Suffering Trap. When pain is used as perfume and kindness becomes theater. Some people don't brag about power. They brag about pain. Not the loud kind, not the dramatic collapses, not the broken plates or slammed doors. Their suffering is subtle, elegant, curated. They speak softly, almost poetically, about how they're always trying, how life is unfair, how they give and no one ever truly sees them. You don't hear anger, you hear wounded grace. And at first, it touches you. You think, wow, this person has such a soft heart. They've survived so much. But if you stay long enough, you notice something strange. Their hurt always has an audience. Their sadness always needs a witness. Their story always ends the same way. I'm the one who cares. I'm the one who tries. Everyone else just disappoints me. And suddenly, without realizing it, you start trying too. Trying to be the person who finally doesn't hurt them. Trying to be gentle enough, supportive enough, loyal enough. They don't force you to prove love. They make you volunteer for the test. And it feels noble, doesn't it? To stay beside someone who claims the world never understood them. Until one day you wake up and realize you have been applauding a performance.
This isn't someone quietly enduring pain. This is someone polishing it and putting it on display like a trophy. Stoics taught us a very different language of suffering. Epictetus said, "Do not tell your troubles to everyone. Show strength by how you carry them." Real pain humbles. Real pain softens. Real pain creates maturity, not dependency, not emotional debt. But the covert narcissist's pain works like gravity. It pulls you closer, keeps you orbiting them, slowly turning your empathy into obligation. They don't break you with cruelty. They break you with innocence. And here's the trap. You don't want to leave. Not because you're stuck, but because you don't want to feel like the bad person who abandoned someone who only ever loved too much. Let me ask you gently, have you ever stayed loyal to someone not because they were good to you, but because their sadness made you feel responsible? If yes, your heart wasn't being loved. It was being recruited. In the day you stop trying to rescue them, they will accuse you of abandoning them. But you didn't abandon them. You stepped out of a role you never auditioned for. Take a deep breath, because the next trap is even quieter. Part 2. The Guilt Script Trap. When someone makes your goodness their leverage. Some battles don't begin with anger. They begin with disappointment. Not yours, theirs. It starts with a sentence that sounds harmless. "I just thought you were different." Or, "I didn't expect that from you." No yelling, no blame. Just a soft tone that somehow weighs more than a shout. And in that moment, something shifts inside you. You don't defend your choice, you defend your character. You start thinking, wait, did I do something wrong? Am I being selfish? Am I not who I believe I am? They don't attack your behavior, they attack your identity. See, healthy people say, "This bothered me. Can we talk about it?" Covert manipulators say, "A caring person wouldn't do that." Subtle difference, massive impact. Because now you're not discussing the situation, you're defending your morality. And that's how good people get trapped. Not by force, but by moral pressure. Let me give you a real-life image. Imagine telling a child, "I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed." Now imagine that child at 35 carrying that tone in every relationship, still trying to earn permission to be themselves. Guilt is the quietest leash, and covert narcissists know exactly how to tighten it. They don't raise their voice, they raise your self-doubt. The Stoics warned us, when others try to shame you, stand firm in the truth of your own soul. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, "Prove yourself." He said, "Stand." Because healthy love respects boundaries. Manipulative love punishes them. Think back, gently, honestly. Have you ever said no to someone and suddenly felt like you had committed a sin?
Have you ever comforted someone right after they hurt you? Because somehow you ended up apologizing. That's not compassion. That's conditioning. Guilt-based loyalty isn't loyalty. It's captivity dressed as kindness. And the most dangerous prison is the one where the doors open, but your conscience won't let you walk out. Pause, breathe, put your shoulders down. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion to prove you're a good person. In the next section, we'll learn how stoic calm turns guilt into clarity, and how reclaiming your inner stillness
breaks the quietest chains. 3. The dependency illusion. When I need you slowly becomes you owe me. There's a certain sentence that sounds romantic, almost sacred the first time you hear it. You're the only one who understands me. Or, I don't know what I'd do without you. To a generous heart, it feels like connection. To a tired soul, it sounds like purpose. But there's a difference between love and emotional reliance. Love shares strength. Dependence borrows it forever. At first, they admire you. They lean on you. They confide in you. It feels beautiful, like destiny. Like you stumbled into someone's life at the exact moment they needed you most. But soon the weight shifts. They can't calm down unless you soothe them. They can't feel secure unless you reassure them. They can't face life unless you stand next to them, even when you're barely standing yourself. And little by little, your world shrinks. Their storms become your weather. Their emotions become your duty. And you wake up one morning exhausted, not from love, but from emotional babysitting disguised as devotion. Seneca warned us, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity alone." True love grows two strong people. False love turns one person into a crutch, and the other into a patient who never learns to walk. Let me ask you gently, have you ever found yourself calming someone more than loving them? Have you ever been afraid to leave, not because you'd suffer, but because you feared they would collapse without you? That isn't loyalty. That's emotional hostage-taking wrapped in neediness and poetry. Healthy connection says, I want you with me. Manipulative dependence says, I can't survive without you, and if you leave, it proves you never cared. Hear this with kindness. Someone who truly loves you strengthens your wings, not your chains. You are a partner, not a life support machine. And you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to choose yourself without apology. Breathe slowly. We're not here to harden your heart. We're here to free it. And the Stoics didn't teach us to become cold. They taught us to become whole. Part 4. The Stoic shift from guilt to clarity. How calm truth breaks silent manipulation. Stoicism isn't about shutting down emotions. It's about quiet strength, the kind that sees clearly instead of reacting blindly. So how do we break these soft chains without losing our compassion or our soul? We begin with awareness, not anger. 1. Name the moment silently. Instead of thinking, I'm hurting them, learn to think, they're using emotion to guide my choices. Naming the pattern breaks the spell. 2. Stay calm, even when they shake. Manipulators expect panic. They expect you to rush, fix, soothe, surrender.
But calm is their kryptonite. They don't fear anger. Anger keeps you engaged. They fear silence. They fear stillness. They fear a mind they can't steer. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the mind that remains calm commands all storms. Number 3. Ask grounding questions. Next time guilt rises in your chest, ask,
Is this love or obligation? Am I choosing this or am I afraid not to? Would a kind person still be kind if I said no? Real morality doesn't fear boundaries. Number 4, let the pause do the speaking. You don't need to defend, justify, or explain. Try phrases like, I hear you. I need time to think. That's your feeling, not my responsibility. You'd be amazed how many emotional traps crumble when you refuse to rush into them. Number 5, choose peace over proving. You don't need to convince anyone you're good to be good. And sometimes defending yourself is the fastest way to lose yourself. Walk away from battles that only exist to drain you. Remember, a calm heart is not a weak one. It's a trained one. The Stoic path isn't a fortress of stone. It's a quiet garden where your mind can breathe again. And if someone tries to follow you into that garden, not to rest beside you, but to pull you back into chaos, close the gate. Not with hatred, not with revenge, just with peace. Because peace is not retreat. Peace is mastery. Part 5. The quiet strength of becoming. When you stop proving and start being. There comes a moment in life where you stop negotiating with storms, not because you're tired, but because you finally understand the nature of weather. People change, situations shift, love grows, breaks, returns in new forms. Success arrives and leaves like tides. You stop clinging to sunshine as if rain is a punishment. You learn to walk through it with your collar up, your eyes soft, your steps steady. Some people collapse when the wind rises, not because they're weak, but because they believed the world owed them calm skies. Stoics never prayed for easy weather. They prepared for life. And maybe that's the quiet truth no one teaches us young enough. It's not about dodging the hard chapters. It's about becoming the person who can carry them with dignity. I once met a man who told me, I used to think strength meant never breaking, but life taught me strength is learning how to break without losing yourself. He lost his business once, lost his marriage in the same year, lost the version of himself he thought he needed to be. And for a while, life humbled him hard. He worked night shift stocking shelves, drove delivery in the mornings, built again when no one was watching. Years later, he told me something that sounded almost like a whisper from a Stoic temple. Pain didn't ruin me. It refined me. It sanded my ego and left only what was real. That's the thing about maturity. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it sounds like letting go of the need to win every argument. Sometimes it's swallowing your pride and starting over at 47. Sometimes it's choosing peace instead of proving you were right.
Have you noticed? The loudest people in the room are rarely the most secure. The ones who constantly insist they're strong are often the most afraid of falling apart. But the truly strong, they don't announce their resilience. They live it. They don't need to convince you of who they are. They wake up, breathe, show up, and do the next honest thing. They carry loss without bitterness. They rebuild without applause. They forgive without forgetting the lesson. And maybe that's the most Stoic kind of victory. Not conquering the world, but conquering the restless part of yourself that always demanded validation, certainty, guarantees. Because life doesn't hand out guarantees. It hands out tests. And your power isn't proven by how loudly you talk about strength, but by how gently you rise when life knocks the air out of you. So if you're in a season of rebuilding, if you're carrying a goodbye, or a disappointment, or a version of yourself you've outgrown, walk slowly, but keep walking. You don't need to rush your healing. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to perform resilience for anyone's applause. Your life is not a stage. It's a pilgrimage. And the people meant for your path will not require you to bleed to earn their love,
or explain the scars you picked up learning to survive. Stand tall in your quiet way. You don't need to shine to be light. Sometimes the world doesn't need fireworks. It needs a steady flame. Breathe. Straighten your spine. Carry your calm. That is strength. That is self-respect. That is freedom. The quiet call to grow. If this message stayed with you, if something in it stirred a memory or gave your heart a little more room to breathe, then let it sit with you a moment longer.
Growth rarely arrives in thunder. Most of the time, it's a whisper, a small shift, a quiet spine straightening, a soft promise you make to yourself. I will not abandon my peace again. And here's the truth few say out loud. You don't become stronger by fighting everything. You become stronger by choosing what deserves your energy and letting the rest pass like weather across the sky. So if today gave you clarity or direction, or simply a little company on a long journey, I'd like to ask you something. Gently. Stay with this path. This channel isn't about perfection or pretending to be unbreakable or reciting ancient quotes like armor. It's about learning how to walk through life with less fear and more intention. It's about remembering that calm is a skill, self-respect is a practice, and peace is not a gift from the world. It's a home you build inside yourself. If that resonates with you, tap the like button so this message reaches someone else who needs it today. Share it with a friend you know is trying to hold themselves together quietly. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Ancient Stoic Secrets, not for me, for you. Because every week we sit here together and we learn what the ancient philosophers already knew. The world is loud, but clarity is earned in silence. Before you leave, drop a single word in the comments, your commitment to yourself tonight. Steady. Enough. Stillness. Rise. Peace. Choose the one that fits you. Whisper it if you want, but own it. Let it be the anchor that meets you again tomorrow. And until then, walk gently. Stand tall. And remember, you don't need to shout to be powerful. You just need to know who you are when the noise fades. I'll see you soon.